It wasn't scorching yet when Logan Pierce arrived, but the heat in Palm Grove, New Mexico never gave warnings. The air was thick with the smell of old rubber, and dust from Highway 18 still clung to the windshields of the nearby parked pickups. Shinecore Station Number 12 emerged ahead of him like a forgotten patch of land in the middle of the desert. 7 a.m. The shift hadn't started, but Logan knew this place had been awake for hours. He stood in front of the rusted sign, eyes locked on the faded words that had once been the motto he built from nothing. Shinecore, because clean is confidence. But now confidence had been scratched off almost completely, leaving only confide. As if this place now only existed for people to bury what they couldn't say out loud. He wore a plain gray shirt, wrinkled khaki pants, thick plastic frame glasses, and a crumpled baseball cap he'd picked up from a thrift store 2 days earlier. A temporary name tag, Riley, was taped to his chest with double-sided tape. No one at this branch had ever met him, except for a black and white photo buried in the outdated 2019 training manual. With his temples now streaked with gray, no one recognized him. Logan entered the employee area through a side door. The metal groaned loud enough to make every sound pause for a second. The sharp scent of ammonia and industrial soap hit him immediately. In the cramped 10-square-meter break room sat 3 plastic chairs and a whiteboard with faint marker stains. The shift schedule was already posted. His name, Riley, was at the very bottom, marked with training. A tall, broad-shouldered man checking inventory turned around. New guy? His voice was gravelly, commanding. I'm Donnie, manager here. Doesn't matter where you came from. When you're here, I'm the only voice that matters. Logan nodded silently. Donnie handed him a pair of worn gloves, so old the padding in the palms had split open, exposing frayed orange threads. Temporary gloves. You'll need to buy your own gear. We don't have the budget. Logan gave another silent nod, then followed him out to the wash bay. Outside, 2 younger employees were spraying down an old pickup, their motions fast but uncoordinated. They glanced at Logan as he passed. No greetings. One of them, a buzz-cut guy, wrinkled his nose and turned away. Donnie didn't care. He pulled out his phone and tapped something into a scheduling app. If you fall behind on even one car, you lose a minute off your break. Do the job well, you stay. Do it poorly, you're done. There's no integration period here. No trial. You keep up or you're out. Logan's first vehicle was a gray sedan, caked in dust from side mirror to rear window. He was assigned the rinse, clean water spray after the soap tunnel. Simple. Basic. But just as he grabbed the hose, a voice barked from behind. Hurry it up, Riley. This ain't a spa. Donnie wasn't even looking, but it was clear he was monitoring every move. Logan didn't respond. He didn't need to. He knew this environment, the kind where air feels compressed, where laughter dies, music is absent, and every breath is measured. The shift carried on like that. Under an intensifying sun, amid constant barking orders, every second counted. By 10 a.m., sweat had started to trace down Logan's spine. His shirt clung to his skin, soap residue crusting his forearms white. He didn't complain, but his eyes missed nothing. A girl, short, thin, her canvas shoes worn to threads, was crouched over a wheel rim nearby. She leaned in close, her movements slow, her hands occasionally trembling. Once she straightened up slowly, hand bracing the hood, eyes closed. Donnie appeared like a hawk. Serena, you working or resting? She startled, letting go of the hood, her face flushed. No, I'm working. Then keep going. Don't make me repeat myself. You've only been here 2 weeks. If you want a lunch break, earn it. Logan turned away, but his grip on the hose tightened. Not out of exhaustion, out of anger. Earn a lunch break. That wasn't company policy. That was oppression. By noon, no one had left their post. A young guy, about 20, asked to get some water. Donnie snapped, "Water's for later. Work now, drink after." No one protested. They just kept their heads down. Logan noticed the disappointment in the guy's face. His name tag said Eli. There was nothing left to say. Logan quietly resumed rinsing SUV number 12 of the morning. The only feeling lingering wasn't soreness, it was bitterness. At 2 p.m., Serena collapsed behind the vacuum station. Not fully passed out. Her knees just gave. Her breath came in gasps. Logan rushed to grab a towel and handed it to her. She nodded in thanks, gripping the car seat edge to stay hidden. "You need water," he whispered. "I don't want to get written up," she whispered back, fear in her eyes. Logan pulled out his wallet, slipped her $2, and pointed toward the break room's vending machine. "I'm sorry," she said. He nodded, didn't push, just turned away, his chest hollowing out. When the shift ended at 3:45, Donnie gave no farewell. No thank you. He closed his logbook, pocketed his phone, and walked into his office. Serena sat slumped against the wall, eyes closed. Eduardo, a Mexican man, peeled off his gloves, every motion stiff with pain. No one spoke. Logan washed his hands at the outdoor sink, watching the sun glare off the rippling concrete, and he whispered to himself, "This isn't the company I built." Inside him, something was starting to take form. Not just observation, not remote correction, but presence. Standing right here, under this sun, amid the sting of soap and the silent eyes of people quietly falling apart. Donnie Clive arrived at 6:58 a.m., like always. Logan had been there an hour earlier. He stood in the corner of the lot, wiping down a hose, quietly observing through the office window, its upper pane catching the morning light like a thin veil of dust draped over this silent car wash station. Donnie parked his old Ford and stepped out like a man surveying his own territory. Back straight, quick steps, a half-lit cigarette between his lips. He didn't say a word, just walked into the office and slammed the door. Logan was ready for his second day as Riley, a trainee sent from the Albuquerque branch to help during peak season. No one asked more. No one questioned anything. To them, he was another temp, one of the many faces that showed up and disappeared without a trace. To Donnie, that was even clearer. During the brief morning meeting, if it could be called that, Donnie stood by the water cooler and read off a list of yesterday's infractions. Serena took a break outside approved time. 1 strike. Eli slowed down on vehicle 9. 1 strike. Eduardo still limping. 2 strikes for intentionally slowing progress. Riley, no strikes yet, but who knows? No one responded. Only the fluorescent light buzzed overhead. Donnie finished his cold coffee from a plastic cup and tossed it into the trash without looking. "You all know the rules. 3 strikes, lose a shift. 5, you're out. No discussions. If any of you have a problem with that, door's over there." No one left. They simply stood up in silence and divvied up the equipment. Logan followed Serena to the wheel wash station, just like yesterday. Amid the water jets and chemical fumes, Logan began to understand the deeper mechanics of management by threat. Donnie didn't have to shout all day. He just had to be there and let the system he built press down on every step they took. Each person was monitoring their own clock. Every small mistake, a glance. Every sign of fatigue, a strike. Serena didn't smile. Eli avoided all conversation. Eduardo barely spoke. Logan realized the place had lost its voice. Only hoses and barked orders remained. By noon, the heat was worse than the day before. Logan asked to go into the supply shed for more rags, but Donnie stood blocking the door. "No unauthorized access. Tools are rationed. Want more? Wait till shift ends." Logan kept a neutral face and walked back to wipe with the oil-stained rags they already had. No one complained. But the way Serena glanced down at her sleeve and wiped sweat with the inside of her wrist betrayed a fatigue too long ignored. For a brief moment, with a car finished, Logan sat on the concrete step to stretch his back. Donnie appeared behind him and tossed a crumpled bag of old snacks. "Eat fast, 5 minutes. No more." Logan opened the pack and chewed slowly. Donnie sat beside him, almost as if friendly, but his tone didn't shift. "You know why these kids quit?" Logan glanced over. "They're weak," Donnie continued, eyes fixed on the lot. "They can't handle the pace, not used to pressure. They grow up with TikTok and Netflix, think life's all personal choices. Here, I teach them reality." Logan stayed quiet. Donnie went on. "I used to work 12 hours straight at a wash station in Phoenix. No breaks. No one asked if I was okay. I taught myself to survive. Now I pass that on." "Is that teaching or just enforcing?" Logan said quietly. Donnie turned to him, eyes sharp like blades. What did you say? Just wondering, if your rules work so well, why do so many people quit? Donnie let out a dry laugh. Because I don't keep the weak. I only need the tough ones. Logan stood up, said nothing more. He knew that with Donnie, every conversation wasn't dialogue. It was control. At the end of the day, a luxury white SUV pulled into the premium lane. A middle-aged man stepped out, dark sunglasses, booming voice. I want the seat steam cleaned, not wiped with paper towels. Serena hesitated, replying softly. Sir, we're short-staffed today. It might take a few more minutes. Didn't ask how long. I'm paying for top service. Donnie, standing nearby, stepped behind a column and said nothing. Logan approached. Apologies, sir. I'll take care of it right away. Serena looked at him, startled. The customer clicked his tongue. That'll do. Logan grabbed the steam hose and got to work on the rear seats. Serena stood beside him and whispered, You don't have to. Yes, I do, Logan replied, not lifting his head. Donnie, from a distance, quietly tapped something into his phone. The shift ended. Logan washed his hands in the cold tap by the brick wall. He watched Serena walk away with her head down. Eli slumped by the door, sighing, Eduardo slowly unwrapping the bandage on his knee. Donnie stood far off, cigarette between his lips, eyes calculating who should be taught next. Logan said nothing to anyone, but that night in a cheap motel off the highway, he opened his laptop and began typing. Not a report, not a complaint, but a list. Names, actions, phrases, expressions. And at the very end, this system isn't malfunctioning, it was built to harm, and I've let it go on far too long. Serena Torres arrived at ShineCore every morning at 6:10 a.m., a full 30 minutes earlier than required. No one told her to do that. It was just that, if she didn't show up early, she wouldn't have a chance to pick the least torn pair of gloves from the reusable supply bin, what Donnie liked to call his sustainable resource center. And for Serena, a decent pair of gloves was sometimes the only thing standing between going home with blistered hands or having just enough strength left to care for her younger sister after work. Logan had been watching her since early that morning, while he sat alone next to the empty coffee machine. Serena entered silently, opened a locker, and pulled out a small bundle wrapped in old newspaper. She carefully divided it in half, rewrapped one portion, and slipped it into her shirt pocket. Lunch? Logan asked, half joking, half testing. She froze, looked at him through the frosted glass, then gave a small nod. The other half's for tonight, for my sister. Logan said nothing else, but that brief answer stayed with him all day. It was Tuesday, the hottest day of the week. Temperatures peaked at 109 degrees Fahrenheit by midday, but Donnie kept the entire team running nonstop. No rotation, no breaks. Logan noticed a new hire tried stepping into the break room for water. Donnie, seeing it remotely via the security camera, immediately marked a strike into his logbook. No warning, no explanation, just a red slash across a yellowing page. At about 1:15 p.m., Serena was scrubbing the tires of an off-road pickup. She was unsteady, her knees lightly trembling, the towel in her hand swaying with her grip. Logan was at the front of the vehicle when he turned and saw her suddenly slump onto the hood, her back curved as if folding in. Immediately, a sharp voice rang out. Serena! Where the hell do you think you are? A lounge chair. Donnie had stepped out from the surveillance room, energy drink still in hand. The girl jolted upright like a student caught cheating. I'm sorry, No, just. You haven't been here a month. You don't have the right to rest. Get up and keep working. Logan wanted to step in, to say something, but Serena turned to him and shook her head, just slightly. A plea not out of fear, but something deeper, a kind of resignation long engraved into her. The shift ended. Serena made her way toward the break room, barely lifting her feet. Logan followed without a word. She collapsed next to the lockers, leaning against the old wooden panel. He handed her a bottle of cold water from the machine. She took it with trembling hands. You can't keep going like this. Serena gave a weak smile, but it wasn't a happy one. I need this job. My sister needs her meds, her tuition, her dinner. But if you collapse, who's going to take care of you? Serena shook her head. No one here cares about that. Logan went quiet. I care, he said. Serena looked up, holding eye contact for the first time for more than 3 seconds. Why? Logan simply answered, because I used to not care. Then he stood, walked outside. Inside him, something cracked. Not pain, but the late realization of a responsibility long neglected. The next morning, Logan arrived before Serena. He cleaned the entire wash station area, prepared fresh towels, and set aside the best pair of gloves for her. When Serena arrived and saw a neatly folded towel placed on the corner of the work table, with a handwritten note that read, "For S," she said nothing, but her eyes, for the first time, carried a faint light. Mid-shift, a regular customer, Mr. Lincoln, a senior attorney in the region, pulled up in a pearl-white Lexus. Serena was assigned to the interior. Mr. Lincoln wasn't pleased with the uneven glass cleaning and immediately started yelling. How many times do I have to say, don't use dry rags on polished windows? Do you even listen? Or do I need to call someone above you? Serena froze, her hand gripping the doorframe. Logan stepped in, calm and even. Sir, I'll take care of that right away. Sorry for the inconvenience. Serena stepped back. He took her place. No excess words, no excuses, just action. After the customer left, Donnie poked his head out from the office, squinting. Riley, who said you could jump in? I didn't jump in. I handled the problem. Donnie came closer, leaning in. I'm the manager here. I decide who does what. If you want to keep your job, don't break my rules. Logan said nothing, just walked away, leaving Donnie standing there, facing a resistance he didn't know how to counter. That night, Serena handed him a piece of paper. You asked me yesterday, why don't you quit? This is my answer. On it, in messy handwriting, was a single line. My mother once said, if you can't hold the world back, at least don't let it crush your sister. Serena Logan took the paper, folded it, and didn't say a word. But inside him, that faint flicker, Serena's quiet courage, had officially ignited the first spark that would fuel the change to come. Eduardo Morales couldn't remember the last time he walked quickly. Maybe it was last year, when the pain in his knee hadn't become a daily companion. Maybe it was even further back when he worked at Shine Core Branch Number 6, where people used to call him the Golden Hand for his almost unbelievable speed and precision in detailing car bodies. But now at Branch Number 12, where no one used names and everyone was just a time card, Eduardo was simply 0047, and every step he took was a test of his own patience. Logan noticed it on his fourth day posing as Riley. Eduardo didn't walk. He glided quietly across the lot, slightly hunched, his hand holding the towel in a fixed position as if every move had been memorized long ago. But every time he turned, he leaned slightly to one side, his right knee bending just a bit to avoid pulling the joint. It was the kind of movement only someone who had lived with injury would recognize. While Serena was showing Logan how to treat wheel stains with a specialized solution, he took the opportunity to ask in a low voice, what happened to him? Serena glanced over. Eduardo, his right knee shot. Heard he got run over by a car back at the old branch, but he can't afford to take time off. Why not? Serena shrugged. Donnie never submitted his file to HR. He's got a doctor's note, but it's being withheld. If he tries to send it himself, he's threatened with file freeze. So now he only does light work, or he endures it. Logan tightened his grip on the spray bottle. He had met Eduardo once before, just once, during the Shine Core system-wide summit 3 years ago. Back then, Eduardo had been recognized as one of the employees awarded for loyalty and resilience. Logan still remembered what Eduardo had said when they shook hands. I'm not smart, but I'm honest. I can't do a lot, but I show up on time every day. And now that same honesty and diligence had made him the easiest person to forget. At the end of the shift that day, Logan approached Eduardo while he was rinsing out the vacuum tubes behind the lot. Hot one today, huh? Eduardo nodded. Same as always. I heard from Serena. You got injured? Eduardo paused. You're new. Don't get involved in the mess. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to understand. Eduardo let out a sigh. 2 years ago, I slipped at Branch 6 while moving a chemical drum. My knee swelled up. Doctor told me to rest for 3 weeks. I had the paperwork. Donnie had just been transferred in. He told me, if you take leave, you lose your shift, and you're off the core team list. And if you're off that list, you won't be prioritized for scheduling. I needed the money. My son had just started college. Logan asked, do you still have the doctor's note? Eduardo nodded. I keep everything. It's in my locker. Bring it tomorrow. Keep it on you. Don't hand it to anyone. Eduardo looked at him, suspicion in his eyes for the first time. Who are you? Logan gave a faint smile. Just someone who doesn't want to see people fall over things that should never have been hidden. The next day, Eduardo brought a photocopy of the doctor's note, folded into quarters and tucked into his shirt pocket. Logan nodded when he showed it. Hold on to it. Only show it if someone tries to make you do something you shouldn't. That shift, Donnie noticed Eduardo moving more slowly. He walked over and barked, You're too slow. Still want to keep your shift? For the first time, Eduardo stood upright, his hand resting on his shirt pocket. I have a note. I'm not supposed to do heavy labor. This isn't laziness. It's a medical requirement. Donnie froze for a second. Who told you to hold on to that? Keeping a medical note without filing it is against protocol. Logan stepped forward from across the lot, voice cold. There's no policy against keeping a personal copy. If you'd like, I can call HR right now and confirm it. Donnie squinted. You're a trainee. How do you know the rules that well? I read the employee manual. Did you? Donnie didn't reply. He turned and walked away. But for the first time, he backed off. Eduardo exhaled. I thought I'd be fired. No, Logan said, watching Donnie disappear into the office. Not this time. That night, Logan sat alone in the parking lot. Beside him, Eduardo's gloves, forgotten, one torn, the other soaked in sweat. Logan looked down at his own knees, unscarred, unrestricted. And he understood. Power doesn't come from a title. It comes from who you're willing to stand beside, exactly when they need it most. That morning began with a strange kind of silence. Donnie said nothing when the shift began. He merely glanced around, looking at each person in turn, as if searching for something. Serena quietly avoided his gaze while Eduardo kept his head down, focused on cleaning the vacuum hose. Logan stood beside the chemical bin, silently checking the soap concentration. The morning shift dragged heavily. The air felt thick. No one joked. There was no background music. It was as if everyone was waiting for something to erupt. And it did, at exactly 10:42 a.m. A sleek black SUV charged into the premium lane. It was the latest Lanford model, the kind of vehicle driven by customers who knew exactly how much they were paying to be treated like royalty. A man in his 50s stepped out, salt and pepper hair, gold watch on his wrist, polished leather shoes. Next to him was a teenager, maybe 16, looking tired, phone in hand recording a TikTok video. Serena was assigned to clean the car's interior. She stepped into the cabin, bent over to vacuum the back seat when a sharp yell rang out. Hey, what the hell are you doing? I said steam clean, not some supermarket wipe down. Serena jolted upright, still holding the vacuum hose. Sir, steam treatment takes a little time. Our team is currently working through the queue. Queue? Do you even know what premium means? Or should I just do it myself? Logan stepped out from the rinse area, dropped his hose, and walked over. Apologies, sir. I'll take care of it. The man squinted at him. And who are you? I'm Riley. I'll handle this for you. Well, better you than that girl ruining my leather. Serena stepped back. Logan nodded and retrieved the steam hose from the storage cabinet. As he leaned in to treat the back seat, Serena kept her eyes on him, her face tense. Logan said nothing. He worked with precise technique. Not too fast, not too slow. When he finished, he turned to Serena and handed her back the equipment. Here you go. The man snorted, tugged his son toward the car. Just before sliding into the driver's seat, he tossed out a final remark. Next time, don't let the kids clean my car. Logan stood still, staring directly ahead. No reaction, no flinching. But Serena didn't stay still. She turned away, hands clenched, her lips pressed so tightly they turned pale. Logan followed her during the short break. You okay? He asked. Serena shook her head. I hate that feeling, like I'm just a tool, not a person. You're not a tool, Logan said, and I'm not going to let that keep happening. Right after the break, Logan walked into the office. Donnie sat with his feet up on the desk, eyes glued to the security camera feed. "What are you doing?" Donnie asked, not looking away. "I want to ask about the policy for when a customer insults staff." Donnie smirked. "The customer is always right. Even when they call an employee stupid? Even when they scream in her face in the middle of the lot?" Donnie lowered his legs and looked directly at Logan. "You've been here how many days and now you're teaching me how to manage? Long enough to know something's wrong. Listen, Riley, this is the real world. Nobody cares about how employees feel. You want to survive? Learn to bow your head." Logan didn't respond. He gave a small nod, then walked out. But in his eyes, a line had just been crossed. At the end of the shift, he called for a quick meeting in the break room. Donnie was absent, busy checking inventory in the back. Logan stood in the cramped space, dim yellow lights flickering off peeling walls. "Everyone saw what happened today, and we can't pretend it didn't." No one spoke, but Serena, Eduardo, and Eli all looked up. Logan continued, "I can't change everything, but I'll stand with you. Whether I'm an intern or a CEO, respect is not up for negotiation." Serena asked quietly, "What if they fire you?" Logan smiled. "Then I'll come back another way." They didn't fully understand what he meant, but in that moment, something shifted. For the first time, the air in the break room didn't feel so heavy. Logan didn't need to reveal who he really was. He only needed to lead, with kindness. That morning, Donnie arrived late, 7:13 a.m., an almost unprecedented occurrence. His old pickup skidded into the lot with a sharper brake than usual, kicking up a trail of red dust along the road. Logan was drying the side mirror of a silver sedan and glanced quickly toward the office. No one said anything, but everyone noticed. Donnie got out of the truck without greeting anyone, didn't check any cars, gave no orders. He walked straight into the break room and slammed the door. Eduardo exhaled quietly. Serena raised her eyebrows toward Logan. Eli muttered under his breath, "It's not going to be a quiet day." And it wasn't. By mid-morning, when Serena stepped into the break room to grab a bottle of water, Donnie barked, "You, in here." She froze in the doorway. Logan stood just behind her, but Serena didn't dare look at him. She stepped inside. Donnie locked the door. Logan couldn't hear what was said, but Serena's face when she came out said it all. She walked straight into the changing room, water bottle trembling in her hands, eyes red. Logan watched her go, then turned back to his work on the lot, his every motion suddenly stiff and cold, like forged steel. By lunch break, no one wanted to be the first to enter the break room. Eventually, Logan stepped in first. He pushed open the door. Inside, Donnie stood near the lockers, hands on his hips. "Well, even interns get lunch breaks now?" Donnie sneered. Logan entered, set his gloves on the table, and said nothing. A heavy silence fell. "Who do you think you are?" Donnie finally said. "I've seen you hovering around, interfering with how I run this place, talking to every kid like you're some kind of saint." "I'm just doing what the company policy outlines," Logan replied calmly. "Protecting colleagues, reporting violations. But you're the one breaking the rules." Donnie laughed, a dry, bitter sound. "Breaking rules? I'm the reason this place hasn't collapsed. I cut costs. I keep KP is in line. If I'm so wrong, why does this branch still operate? And you, what are you? Some newbie not even here a full week, trying to tell me how to manage?" "No," Logan said. "I'm not trying to teach. I'm just refusing to look the other way." Donnie stepped closer, his voice low. "You think these kids need a hero? You're wrong. They need fear. Fear keeps them working. If they want dreams, they can take them somewhere else." "You call that leadership?" Logan's eyebrows lifted. "Making people afraid isn't leadership. It's control. It's abuse." Donnie pointed a finger directly in his face. "Don't test me, Riley. I have the power to fire you right now." Logan didn't blink. "Do it. But before you do, make sure you understand what happens next." The door opened. Serena stood at the threshold, eyes still red. Behind her were Eduardo, Eli, and another, Javier, the morning shift worker who had been off the previous week, now just returned. Donnie turned. "What the hell is this?" Serena spoke, voice shaking. "You can't keep doing this. This isn't the military. It's a workplace." Donnie scanned the room. You think I'm scared of a few complaints? Javier stepped forward. Number. But maybe you should be scared when the rest of us start looking at each other and stop looking down. Silence. Logan sat down, slowly putting his gloves back on. He didn't need to say anything. For the first time, the ones who had stayed quiet spoke. Donnie stepped back. Fine. You want to play rebel? He pulled out his phone. I'll call HR right now. I've got every infraction logged in my files. Including the unmarked surveillance camera in the break room? Logan asked. Donnie froze. I know about it, Logan continued. And I know who submitted the recording of you coercing Serena into signing a waiver to forfeit her break rights. You're not just breaking internal policy, you're violating state labor laws. Donnie clenched his fists. His face flushed red, but he said nothing. You still have a chance, Logan said. Walk away with dignity. Let the people here fix what you broke. Donnie stood frozen. Then after a long pause, he shoved his phone into his pocket, pushed open the door, and walked out, without saying a word. Serena sank into the wooden bench, exhaling like a storm had finally left her chest. Eduardo sat beside her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. Eli poured water and passed it around to everyone. Logan said nothing more. But to those around him, he was no longer Riley. He was the first one who dared to say aloud what everyone else had only dared to think. As he left the break room, the midday sun shone across his face, hot but not scorching. For the first time, the heat wasn't destructive. It was cleansing. That morning, the sky over Palm Grove blushed pink, like the city had stayed up all night. There was no background music at the car wash, but every movement felt lighter. No one spoke. No one burst into laughter, but no one looked down either. Donnie didn't come back. Logan stood on the edge of the rinse station, rubbing his gloved hands together, his gaze drifting toward the open lot, once Donnie's stage for over a year. Serena was reviewing the shift schedule. Eduardo was helping Eli fix the vacuum hose. Javier, the acting manager, was tapping away at his tablet, running inventory. A new order was forming. No yelling, no threats, just a quiet kind of renewal. But Logan knew he couldn't stay in the shadows anymore. It was time to take off the hat. The team meeting was called at 11:40 a.m. Javier gathered everyone beneath the awning near the break room, where two industrial fans still clanked rhythmically like nothing had changed. Logan stood in the corner. Light from outside streamed through the gaps in the metal wall, casting a long diagonal stripe across his boots. Javier spoke first. I know the past few days have been full of change, and I want to thank you all for holding the line, especially Riley. He turned to Logan and nodded. Not everyone has the guts to stand up for others. Logan stepped forward. The energy shifted. Serena looked up. Eduardo stopped breathing. Eli blinked. Logan removed his gloves, took off the hat, unclipped the glasses, untied the apron. His voice was calm but clear. My name is Logan Pierce. I'm not a trainee. I'm the founder of Shine Core Silence. Javier stood frozen. Eduardo stiffened. Serena just stood there, unblinking. Eli blurted out, Wait, you're the guy from that old onboarding poster? Logan nodded. I used to be in every photo hung in the conference room. I wrote the company values, line by line. Then I left thinking middle management would carry the spirit forward. I was wrong, and I'm here to make it right. Serena finally spoke. You're the actual CEO? Logan met her eyes. Nothing left to hide. I built this company from a second-hand wash machine and a box of soap, but somewhere along the way, while scaling up, I forgot about the people who gave it a soul. All of you. Another silence. But this time, it wasn't shock. It was respect. Logan continued, I could have filed a report from headquarters. I could have terminated Donnie remotely. But if I had, I would have never seen the fear in Serena's eyes, never heard Eduardo's exhausted breathing, never watched Eli fight to keep his hours by pushing himself too far. I didn't come here for applause. I came to take responsibility. And today, I'm starting with one thing. You all get a 15-minute paid break, starting now. Serena exhaled, a breath that wasn't laughter, but something deeper, like release. Eduardo pulled off his gloves and for the first time allowed himself to sit without fear of being written up. Eli whispered almost under his breath. Oh my God. Logan turned to Javier. You're the acting lead. I want you and Serena to redesign the onboarding interface and the new training protocol. Me? Serena blinked. But I'm not. You're exactly the one who understands how hard the first day can be. You know what it's like to be afraid to ask for a break. You're the best person to teach new hires. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you haven't earned 15 minutes. Out in the lot, the wind whistled through the chain-link fence like a standing ovation. No one actually clapped, but everyone nodded. In that moment, power didn't live in a title. It lived in trust, restored. That afternoon, Logan still wore his apron, but no one called him Riley anymore. Serena called him Mr. Pierce, then giggled and corrected herself. Logan. Eduardo walked over and handed him a folded letter. I was going to quit, but now, I think I'll stick around a little longer. Javier said quietly, You made me believe I can manage without yelling. Eli said simply, From now on, I'll show up early. Not because I'm afraid of losing points, but because I want to do better. Logan smiled, and when he looked up at the late-day sky, he knew he hadn't fixed everything, but now he wasn't fixing it alone. The first day after the twist didn't go the way Logan had imagined. There was no awkwardness, no flattery. No one called him Mr. Pierce. No one rushed up asking for photos. And there was none of the usual hesitancy that often follows a power figure's big reveal. Instead, he woke up early, wore the same old uniform, and drove his personal car to Shine Core number 12, just like any other day. And at exactly 6:58 a.m., when he stepped onto the lot, Eli was already waiting for him by the supply shed. He raised a hand in greeting. I checked inventory this morning. We've got exactly 14 dry towels left. I think we need at least 3 more boxes. What time did you check inventory? Logan asked. Eli scratched his head. 5:30. Couldn't sleep. Logan smiled. Me neither. 8 a.m. Logan, Javier, and Serena sat around the old wooden table in the break room, the same room that once echoed with Donnie's verbal punishments. Now it was the site of Shine Core number 12's first strategy meeting. No PowerPoint, no upper management, just a folded A3 sheet of paper and a nearly dried-out whiteboard marker. We start with the obvious, Logan said, unfolding the sheet. Supplies, inventory. Why have our people been forced to use ripped towels, torn gloves, expired chemicals? Javier nodded. Donnie used to cut supply orders to boost quarterly profits. Every time we needed more, he made me email HQ, but he was the one answering those emails and denying the requests. Serena's eyes widened. You mean he was impersonating corporate? Not exactly, Javier replied, but he was authorized to control branch orders. No one questioned it. Then I'm revoking that, Logan said. From now on, Javier has full authority to place orders, open budget, as long as it's transparent and necessary. He pulled out his phone, logged into the internal system, typed a few lines, and hit send. You can place a new shipment today. Javier nodded, visibly lighter for the first time. I also want to audit all equipment. Brushes, hoses, everything. Good, Logan said. But don't do it alone. Pull the whole team in. Let everyone take ownership of a supply group. When people organize the space they work in, it becomes theirs. Serena smiled. I'll design a checklist. 10:45 a.m. The delivery truck from the distribution center arrived earlier than expected. Eli and Eduardo handled receiving. Serena directed the inventory team, for the first time holding the assignment sheet without trembling. Javier and Logan unloaded crates of soap into the lot, lining them up in neat rows. A passing customer stared and asked, Wait, even the boss carries boxes here? Javier laughed. Now he does. Logan said nothing. He just smiled. By noon, the storage area was clean, supplies were stacked, and the tracking chart had been rewritten with a fresh marker. No one was asked to stay late, but no one left early either, because this wasn't just a shift anymore. It was part of restoring trust. 1:30 p.m. Logan met Serena in the break room. She was typing on a laptop, not browsing social media, but editing the onboarding curriculum. I think the first section shouldn't be how to handle a hose, she said, but who you can ask when you're unsure about something. New hires need to feel welcomed before they're told what to do. Logan nodded. Make that chapter 1. Anything else? She asked. Logan looked at the whiteboard behind her. He walked over, picked up the marker, and wrote one word. Mentorship, then underlined it 3 times. Not everyone needs a teacher, but everyone needs someone, so they don't feel alone. She nodded. Who do you think should be the first one? Logan looked at her. You, Serena laughed. I've never trained anyone. You don't have to teach. Just tell the truth. The things you wish you knew at the start. What you feared. What you overcame. That sounds more like a team lead than a mentor. You already are a team lead, Serena. You just haven't been called one yet. By late afternoon, Serena was standing beside a new hire, a young woman named Mia, 18 years old, just starting her trial period. Serena handed her a fresh towel and showed her how to clean the windows. Wipe in horizontal strokes, loosen your wrist, check your work under side lighting. Don't wipe like you're mopping the floor. Wipe like you're cleaning someone's glasses. Someone important. Mia blinked. Why? Serena gave a soft smile. Because every customer who comes here needs to feel respected, even if they never say it out loud. From a distance, Logan watched. No need to step in. No need to correct. It was natural. It was right. It was enough. That evening, Logan sat alone in the office. On the desk were old HR records from Shinecore number 12. Names of employees who had been dismissed for being inefficient, undisciplined. And now he understood that many of them were voices that had simply been silenced. He opened his email and began writing invitations for 3 of them to return for interviews. Subject line, we owe you better. Night fell. Logan locked the office and stepped out into the lot, looking up at the old sign, the faded slogan, because clean is confidence. He pulled out a marker and wrote a new line beneath it, in all caps. Respect is not optional. The amber light from the fixture above cast a glow over the concrete below, the very place the team had stood yesterday, and not a single head was bowed. 1 week after Logan Pierce took off his apron and revealed who he really was, Shinecore branch number 12 became the first in the entire company to implement something called the paid morning meeting, a simple idea that had never existed before. Every Monday morning from 7:30 to 8, the entire team gathered in the garage. No work, no car washing, just sitting. No KPI boards, no sales charts, just a whiteboard. And one weekly question. The first question, what made you want to quit this job? At first, no one dared to speak, but Serena was the first to answer. I wanted to quit on day 1, she said, because I got yelled at for asking how to open the coolant cap. Eli followed. I got written up for grabbing water mid-shift, even though I had a sore throat. Eduardo spoke slowly. I once worked a shift when my knee was twice its normal size, because I thought if I called off, I'd be dropped from the schedule. Logan wrote each answer on the board. No edits, no rephrasing. Every sentence stayed exactly as it was spoken, because no one has the right to rewrite someone else's experience. That afternoon, Serena unveiled the new onboarding handbook. Not a cold checklist, but a practical guide filled with sample conversations, small answers to small questions, and a final chapter titled, How to Know It Wasn't You, It Was the System. It spread like wildfire, not just at the branch. A worker from branch number 8, who had been transferred for underperformance, got a screenshot from a friend, printed it, and brought it to their team meeting. 3 days later, that branch submitted an internal memo requesting a reevaluation of the company's training policies. Logan didn't issue a directive. He simply uploaded the PDF to the internal network with a note. Written by someone who used to be denied breaks. Signed, Serena Torres. Javier, now officially appointed as branch operations manager, didn't create a new rulebook. Instead, he launched something called Fix It Wednesdays. Each week, one team member would identify a long-ignored issue, from a broken vacuum hose to hallway lighting, and the whole team would spend the last 45 minutes of the shift fixing it together. Week 1, Eduardo proposed replacing the jammed vacuum line system. Everyone agreed. Javier set the budget. Logan approved it on the spot. Week 2, Serena proposed a makeover for the break room, with murals drawn by employees. No one objected. Mia, the new hire, painted the first wall. A simple drawing, a pair of gloves resting beside a board that read, We began again by leaving no one behind. Friday afternoon, Logan received a message from HR. Tasha Roan, former employee, has submitted a rehire application. Interview pending. He smiled. Tasha had once worked at Shinecore number 12, but was pressured to leave for insubordination. The real reason, she had stood up for a pregnant new hire who'd had a shift taken away for requesting time off for a medical checkup. Now she was coming back, with one request. If I return, I want to train the night crew. I used to work nights. I know how forgotten they are. Logan approved it, no interview required. By week 3, Logan stepped back from on-site management. But he didn't leave. He still showed up every morning. But no meetings, no directives, just to work with them. One afternoon, Javier asked, "Aren't you heading back to headquarters?" Logan replied, "I'm writing a new handbook for managers. And you need to be here to write it?" "There's no better place." Javier smiled. "Are you going to give it a title?" "I am," Logan nodded. Title: Spend 1 week working like the last name on the schedule, then try managing. Outside, a new sign had been installed. Shinecore number 12. Now training leaders, not just workers. Below it, a smaller plaque listed 4 names. Serena Torres, Mentorship Lead, Javier Rios, Operations Eduardo Morales, Safety Advisor Eli Sanchez, Materials and Inventory. There was no photo of Logan, no CEO title. Because this was no longer one man's stage, it was the arena of those who had once been cut from the race. At the first system-wide meeting after the reform, Logan spoke only 7 sentences. The last one was, "Shine doesn't mean polished. It means we see each other more clearly." And for the first time in 8 years, the entire team clapped. Not for performance metrics, but because they had finally been seen. Monday morning brought an unusual chill. Logan had been standing in the lot since before 6:30 a.m., paper coffee cup in hand, steam curling upward into the soft morning fog. All of Palm Grove still seemed half asleep, but at Shinecore number 12, something had already woken. A farewell. No applause, no cake, but more meaningful than any grand send-off. Serena arrived at 6:47, not rushing, as usual. She stepped into the lot wearing a thin windbreaker, holding a small envelope. She handed it to Logan. "This is my resignation letter. Just for 2 days a week. I'd still like to work part-time if there's a spot." Logan took it and skimmed through. Her handwriting hadn't changed. Neat, steady, but there was something new in it. Confidence. He folded the letter and slipped it into his jacket pocket. "Classes start today?" "This afternoon," Serena nodded. "I'm studying management. At the community college nearby?" "Why?" Logan asked, though he already knew. Serena smiled. "Because I want to become the person I once needed." They didn't say anything more. They didn't need to. 9 a.m. The whole team gathered around the outdoor table, the same one that used to be Donnie's shouting ground. Now it displayed the weekly initiative board. Eli brought out a small cake, nothing fancy, but baked by his mother just for Serena. Eduardo poured the coffee. Javier tapped his glass cup. "No speeches," he said. "Just one thing we all want to say. You changed the way this place works, not with pressure, but with trust." Serena smiled. "It wasn't me. You all gave me the chance." Logan added softly, "No, you made the chance for yourself." 11 a.m. Serena changed out of uniform, washed her hands, and removed the mentorship lead badge from her shirt. She placed it in the wooden tray next to the schedule board. No one asked her to, but it felt right, a quiet rite of passage. She returned to the vacuum station to help Mia, the new hire she had trained, finish the interior cleaning for the final car of the shift. No talking, just hand gestures, a quick towel adjustment. Serena nodded, then stepped back. Mia looked at her the way you look at an older sister, the one who stood between you and fear when you were new. When the car pulled away from the premium lane, Serena didn't go back to the break room. She walked out the front door, didn't look back, but everyone looked after her. 2 weeks later, the mentorship lead badge didn't get reassigned to Mia, not to Eli. Instead, it was replaced with a new title, Rotating Leadership, meaning each week a different employee would mentor the new hires. Because no one is always the most qualified, but everyone deserves a chance to try. The idea came from Serena via email. "Maybe you've been there. standing under the sun, giving everything you've got, and still being told you haven't earned a break. Or maybe you've seen someone kind, like Serena, push past exhaustion just to keep a job. That's not just bad management, that's broken leadership. But it only takes one person to say, this isn't right, for everything to begin shifting. If this story made you feel something, anger, hope, or just the need to believe in better, hit that subscribe button. We tell stories that don't scream. They whisper truth. And if you've ever had a boss like Donnie, or wished for one like Logan, drop a comment below. We're reading. We care.